What's going on YouTube? So among luxury cars, the S-Class has long been regarded as the benchmark which everyone else measures themselves against. While we've reviewed many of its rivals, we actually have never been in an S-Class until today. Which is why we're very excited to be out at James Motor Company to finally spend some time with the segment leader. If you're in the market for any new Mercedes, be sure to stop by their dealership or visit them via their website, which we provided a link to in the video description. So even as we approach an all-new S-Class, let's go ahead and see if the current model is still the king. So beginning things with the exterior design, it can really be summed up with one word: stately. There is a good reason it is one of the most common cars for world leaders, and that's because it demands respect, right from the hood ornament and the large grille. Now we actually have the AMG line package on our model, but unlike other Mercedes products, there is no sport grille. Instead, only the lower fascia is made to look slightly more aggressive. The same goes for the headlights, which are of course fully LED, and are made from an elaborate mixture of a lot of different shapes. But the side is the biggest thing that makes the S-Class so stately and elegant. Since the US only gets the long wheelbase version, all our S's are over 17 feet long, which makes it one of the largest vehicles on the road. And then finally in the back, it continues to have the look that set the stage for all the other Mercedes sedans that came after it, including the signature U-shaped trunk and vertical full LED taillights. Down along the bottom, there are thin dual exhaust tips that actually cover up quad exhaust pipes. So overall, the S-Class continues to have a design that makes a statement and lets people know that you've made it. Now of course, as a flagship Benz, there are a large number of wheel selections, starting with 18-inch alloys at the smallest end, and rising to 20-inch alloys on the top end. What we have are one of the 20-inch options, but they are only available with the AMG line exterior package. Of course, moving to the mirrors, they have every luxury feature, including power folding, auto dimming, and blind spot monitoring. And then in terms of the other safety systems, everything Mercedes has to offer is on board if you select the driver assistance package. Now it would take about an hour to explain all the systems, but as far as the main stuff, you have the usual systems but with semi-autonomous functionality. This gives the car the ability to do some steering for you, like for example, steering around an imminent crash. Finally, the last thing to mention on the outside is the 24.6 gallon fuel tank, which is good for an excellent range of 517 miles, on premium fuel of course. But anyways, that's it for the exterior. So now let's go ahead and get to the part that really matters, the extremely opulent cabin. So on the S-Class, every model does come standard with this nice key fob. However, the keyless go system is actually optional via the premium package. And you can also use remote start via the Mercedes Me app. Now of course, getting inside the vehicle is super simple. You're just going to grab the handle and there is a sensor behind it. And when you do, your power mirrors will also come out. Now obviously it is raining, so I'm just going to go ahead and step inside and explain the stuff in there. Alright, so inside here now, basically what you're looking at is the Mercedes cabin that started it all. This was the original design that's pretty much gone through the entire lineup at this point. And it is a very beautiful design. Now of course you can customize this a ton of different ways. So starting out with, you have Nappa leather as the standard leather in black, silk, nut brown, porcelain, or magma. However, you can upgrade to this diamond quilted Napa leather, and that comes in those same colors plus a special mahogany color. There is also a additional tier, that's your Designo semi-aniline leather, and that comes in silk with some special blue accents, gray accents, or satin accents on, for instance, this armrest as well as on the door trim. And then as far as your different trim choices, there are also a number of those. So you've got walnut, black poplar, brown or black ash, or on this specific example, we have the piano lacquer. Now we'll turn over here to the door trim. As you can see, it is also beautifully crafted. You have leather from top to the bottom, as well as some beautiful diamond quilted pattern right here. As far as your seats, they are 16-way power adjusting across all the models, including things like your power thigh extension, and you can also change the bolstering. And then you do have standard 3-person memory seating with 3-stage heating, and then 3-stage ventilation, as well as the massaging function. Those are optional. Over here at your window controls, they are nicely covered in metal, and all 4 of them are one-touch automatic. And then of course, since this is fine Napa leather, as you can see, it is beautiful and it feels fantastic. Definitely like the color contrast piping as well. Now of course, it pretty much goes without saying that this cabin is stunning. You've got the finest materials available with leather across all the upper part. You even got this color contrast piping in addition to the stitching, which looks beautiful. And then down here in the middle, you have this gorgeous quilted design with like these little perforations. Looks really cool. You've even got leather like way up here. It goes behind the infotainment screen. So, I mean, pretty much no place in this cabin is without leather or some other premium material. So we even have leather way down here, really nice carpeting. And of course, everything does fit together very, very nicely. You have the cool turbine push button start. And when you press it, you'll find the 2 12.3-inch displays fire up. The V8 actually has a really good sound on startup. Now as far as the gauges themselves, like I was saying, this is a 12.3-inch display. I believe this was the first Mercedes to come up with this dual setup. And it is reconfigurable, so you can just use your little touchpad down here on this left-hand side, and you can go over to this certain section, and you can flip through different customizable sections like your navigation, and then over here in the middle we have different trip things, and then you can click back and further go into a few more different sections. So definitely this is an extremely customizable setup. And we don't actually have it, but you could get an 8-inch head-up display as an available option. Now as far as the steering, we do have electric power assisted steering. In all models we'll get this general design steering wheel here. Definitely very nice looking. All of this is real aluminum. Then you've got the leather covered airbag cover, and then you have integrated in whatever type of trim you've selected for the interior. So you have that at the bottom and the top, and then a really comfortable leather grip up here where you rest your hand. Now, like I was saying, we do have some metal controls over here. This is for the gauges. And then we have our adaptive cruise control. And then this side, these controls actually control the main display. And then we have our traditional phone, voice, and audio controls. Up here you will find your rain sensing wipers across all of the models. Additionally, the steering wheel itself is power adjusting. And then heating is an option in the warmth and comfort package, which also includes the really cool heated armrest. Now moving on to interior storage. As you'd expect from a big car, you do have plenty of it. So we've actually got the center console, which opens up from both sides, which is pretty neat. As you can see, it's really large, completely felt lined from top to bottom. And then looking inside here, we've got a wireless phone charger, so you can just kind of slide your phone back into that little pocket there. It does have NFC pairing as well right there. And then you got your 2 USB ports and an SD card slot. Up here in the front, you can slide back this little cover here to reveal your cup holders, as well as another little cubby there, which is good for resting your key fob. And then you got a 12-volt outlet. Now, of course, one of the ways they've been able to free up all this space here in the center console is because, like most Mercedes models, we have the shifter up here, column-mounted electronic one. So, as typical, we just push down for drive. This model actually does have paddle shifters, which is surprising. And then for reverse, you're just going to go up the opposite way. So we've got the optional surround vision camera 360-degree system. So as you can see, we've got the bird's eye view on the left-hand side and the traditional view on the right side. But we can also cycle between several different views by using the control knob. So we have the side view so we can keep from scratching these beautiful rims on the curb or stuff like that. We do also have automatic parking ability, both parallel and perpendicular. And then for park, all you gotta do is just press the end of the stalk. And when you do an automatic electronic parking brake, will also engage. Now, as far as the other stuff that we have over here, we've got a lot of different shortcut buttons right next to the controller, so it's easy to reach. So what you're looking at right here is your auto start stop, as well as your different drive mode selections. You have, I believe, 4 different modes, yes. Eco, Sport, Comfort, and an individual mode where you can just tailor everything to your liking. We also have a button to raise the air suspension and to manually trigger the 360-degree camera system. Now up across the top we have mostly things related to the command system. However, this one right here on the end will bring up some of your seat controls. Not every seat adjustment is available from those controls. That's why you can click on it and activate things like your massage and different things with your lumbar support from here. Then off here on the right side, we have our audio controls. Now, in typical Mercedes fashion, they don't actually tell me how many speakers or how many watts this bass sound system has. However, there is a Burmester high-end sound system with an outrageous 26 speakers available for $6,400. However, we have the standard Burmester sound system, so let's go ahead and take a sample of that. As you pretty much expect, sound quality is amazing. Now I also want to point out something kind of interesting. You'll notice there's no speaker down here in the door trim, and that's because Mercedes has actually integrated it underneath of the dashboard. That way you can have all this storage over here in the door. Definitely a nice touch. Now moving on up the dashboard here, we have our automatic climate controls. They are dual zone automatic as the standard equipment. However, you do have an optional 4-zone automatic setup if you option that on. Of course, everything's very simple to use. You just adjust your temperature right here and it'll actually show up there on the top screen. And then for any of the features that are not readily available right here with physical buttons, we can click into the menu and that will give us access to those things, such as our air freshener system. So we can click into this and we can change different types of scents as well as different strengths of scents for the cabin. Of course, we do have a beautiful analog clock, as well as some really nice full metal vents here. Definitely, just everything in here just has such a high quality feel. Alright, but anyways, that brings us up here to our command system. So let's go ahead and take a quick look. But anyways, taking a quick look here at the command system, like I already said, there are several different ways to control it. You can swipe across this touchpad, or you can also use the wheel, or additionally you can use this little touch slider on the right side of the steering wheel. This is not a touch display though. But anyways, just checking out a few of the basic features. We'll start out with the navigation. This of course is standard. As you can see, we've got a nice satellite view here, and we can zoom in and out with our control knob. As far as other functions, you do have your Mercedes Connect. This is where you basically find all your applications, including, most importantly, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are both on board here. But anyways, that's all I'm going to talk about here with the Mercedes command system. However, we will make a very detailed tech help video available if you want to learn more. A link to that video will appear in the video description. Now moving on up, of course, as you would expect, you do have a full automatic mirror with your HomeLink Universal remotes built into the bottom of it. And also standard across every S-Class is the dual panel moonroof. So you have a really huge panel up here in the front, and then you have a separate panel to spoil the back people. The sunshades are automatic. Obviously, I'm not going to open up this front panel here because it is pouring rain. And while I'm up here, I will also point out you have a really great Designo headliner. But overall, the interior of this S-Class continues to impress. It's amazing that this car has actually been out for several years. It's nearing the end of its lifespan, and this is still one of the finest cabins available in any car at any price point, and that's simply amazing. But anyways, now I'll go ahead and hand it off to my brother Mason to finish up the rest of the cabin. Alrighty, so checking out the S-Class's rear seat, obviously this is one of the spaces where it's most notorious for being luxurious, as with any car in this segment. Now, before we get to the luxury features, I do want to talk about the rear specs in general. So as far as rear legroom is concerned, you're going to find 43 inches of rear legroom and 37 inches of rear headroom, which does actually place it below main competitors like the BMW 7 Series and Audi A8. However, it is bigger than the Lexus LS. Now, turning over here to the door trim, you will notice that's a beautiful design. Of course, it is covered from head to toe with leather. And it's also, I like the color contrast, so most of the interior is white, but this door trim is also black. It gives a really premium vibe. Now, like I was mentioning, it is all leather through here, even all the way down on the lower portion, and all the way on the upper portion as well. And coming down, you will also notice your power rear seat controls. So if you have the warmth and comfort package, you will get power rear seats, so you can adjust everything from its level of recline to its headrest. So as you can see, everything is power as you would expect. And you also have 3-person memory included in that same package. Now, in addition to that, you also have heated and ventilated rear seats. That's in that same package as well. And coming down further, you will find your power rear sunshade controls. So you do have rear sunshades for both rear windows, as you can see. And you do even have a sunshade for the rear area. Now, turning over to the seat itself, of course it is a gorgeous design. You have this beautiful porcelain leather with black color contrast stitching, as well as diamond quilting. Now, here in the center area, you will find vents standard across all trims of the S-Class, as you would expect. And down below that, you will find a low storage area. And you do also have a pop-out 115-volt household-style outlet. Now, turning over to the center area, you do have a nice large armrest that folds down.
and it is leather wrapped as you would expect. Has pop-out storage, so it is felt lined in here. And you do have 2 cup holders as well. Now back behind that, you will also find some storage areas. As you can see, there's plenty of storage. This probably goes back a foot and is about a foot tall, so you can fit plenty of stuff back there. And you could also make that a mini fridge if you wanted to. Now up top, we do have a panoramic moonroof on this model, so you can adjust that with this button right here. So as you can see, you can open it up, and it is, of course, fully power. And here in the center area, you will find a LED mirror with lights. And you will also have a leather-wrapped assist grip with some more lighting as well. Now, as far as your legroom is concerned behind Drew's position, as with anything in this class, you are not going to have any issues. So between my knees and the seat back, I probably have 2.5 feet of space. It's absolutely enormous. And of course, my feet do not have any issues back here. And sliding over with the seat scooted all the way back, and it is worth noting that it does scoot a really long ways back. I still have probably 6 inches of rear leg room thanks to these nice neat cutouts. Now I do also want to mention that this model does also have these optional pillow. So if you don't find these headrests comfortable enough, you can also attach a pillow, and that makes it even more comfortable for you. But before I get out, I do want to just go ahead and say, overall, this S-Class's rear seat is probably the nicest rear seat I've ever been in. Now, it doesn't have all the features that some of the competitors do have on this particular tester. It is available, but this place just feels extremely opulent. I mean, literally everything you touch is super nice, and absolutely anyone is going to be happy back here. I don't care who you are, you're going to be happy. Now coming around to the trunk, of course it is powered, and it's also hands-free power if you have the premium package. And once inside the S-Class's trunk, you are going to find 16.3 cubic feet of space, which does place it below the 7 Series, but it is a little bit larger than the Audi A8. Now as you can see, there is tons of room back here. It's very long and you have plenty of depth to it. As you can see, we have a lot of camera equipment and it fits back here with no problems. And underneath of the floor, you do have some more storage compartments. I don't know if you can see it or not on camera, but it does go down quite a ways. And off to the side, you do also have some storage. Now it is worth noting on this particular tester, we do not have the folding seats because it is power adjustable. Passenger seat is that same beautiful design. And over here on the door trim, as you would expect, it is power adjusting just like the driver's, and you do also have 3-person memory as well as the massaging functions. Now in front of the passenger, you have some of the nicest materials you can get in any car. Sort of a diamond quilted area in front, as well as leather in the upper dash. And the glove box does open to give you a large amount of space that is felt lined, as well as a place to do your fragrance system. Up top, the sun visor does have a mirror and light. It does also detach, but there is no extension. But anyway, guys, that sums up all of the rear areas of this S-Class. So now let's go and get on the road and see just how opulent it drives.
Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about this car's powertrain. Now there's a lot of different versions of this car. I'm not going to describe every single powertrain configuration. You've got a V6, there's an electric one that's coming out here in a couple months, several V8s, a V12. Anyways, we have the 560. That's the twin turbo V8, 4-liter, and that makes 463 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque. I don't know the numbers, but I believe this would be the most common configuration of this car. What's that pair to is a 9-speed automatic transmission. And you can choose between rear-wheel drive or the 4MATIC all-wheel drive system. Now, even though this car is really focused on luxury, you still have surprisingly good performance. So this giant limo can actually go 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds with the 4MATIC all-wheel drive system. So that's very, very impressive. And also very impressive is the fuel economy. All you're looking at is a 1 mpg penalty over the 6-cylinder model. So if you want the extra power, you're not going to pay for it at the pump. So your rating is 17 city, 27 highway, 21 combined when you go with that 4MATIC all-wheel drive system, or it's 1 mpg higher without it. But anyways, that's pretty much the powertrain. So we'll go ahead and take it for a quick drive. Alright, so taking off here in the 2019 S-Class, as you would expect, you know, really it's smooth. We've been in several of these flagship vehicles, and I know the S-Class has a reputation for being the smoothest of the smooth, and definitely initially here I can say it's living up to that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can practically...
It is
doesn't
silent.
Even doesn't even seem like it's running. It's just dead silent. We're just going down the road. This is as close to like an electric car as you're gonna get with still having a V8, you know?
Yeah, no, and that's particularly impressive because, I mean, this has a large V8 engine in it. This is the S560 as equipped. And literally, like, if you're not flooring it or anything, you don't hear the engine at all. All you get is that on-tap power when you're going to need it. And it's just a super smooth V8 engine, which I assume is what a lot of people are going to opt for when they go for the S-Class. And sitting here at a red light, this really kind of highlights the S-Class's biggest benefit. You know, when you go for this type of vehicle, you want it to be extremely comfortable, and I can indeed tell you that this car is. Sitting at this red light, we were joking about it, like literally we could fall asleep sitting here because this seat is unreal.
The headrest
oh my gosh.
It's just literally a pillow. It's the softest headrest I've ever put my head on.
And I mean, the engine is so smooth, like you cannot feel it running at all. I mean, it's just, and it's extremely quiet. I mean, wow. So this is a perfectly comfortable car, you know, and if you can afford it, this really is the pinnacle of comfort.
Now our auto start stop just triggered, so let's see how quickly it restarts. Fantastic. Wow. I mean, smooth as you'd expect.
Mercedes makes some of the best auto start stop systems, and as you would expect out of their flagship, this one is not a rough one.
Now we're up to highway speed here. Again, just as smooth as when we're barely moving at all. You know, you just kind of float. You know, but not like in an old Buick kind of way. It still has, you know, good road manners and stuff. It's just that you see the air suspension is very good about, you can kind of see a bump, and you might hear a bump, but you won't feel the bump. You know, it's just kind of like, well, it was somewhere there, you know. It's a very fascinating experience.
And the sound deadening that they must have put in this car, you know, I have never been in a car that is this quiet. Like, literally, I'm not even talking loud at all. I'm barely whispering. And everyone in the car is going to hear you. So, I mean, hey, it's just unbelievable how quiet. I honestly didn't know a car could be this quiet. And like you said, we were going 50 or 60 miles an hour, so it wouldn't be any different on a highway. The interstate, I mean, it's dead silent. It's like you're sitting still in a dark room with nothing around you.
And I noticed when I rolled down the window is like an inch thick. It almost looks like it's bulletproof. You know, they've put a lot of thought into keeping everything completely silent and smooth, you know. That really is the biggest thing about this car, to me, is that it's so focused. It knows its mission, and it doesn't try to be everything. Some cars try to be so many different things at once that they lose their core mission. You know, a big limo-like car such as this is smooth, quiet, and Mercedes is trying to be the pinnacle of luxury, and they don't pretend to have like sporty aspirations or anything like that. I think that's the smart thing. We can talk a bit about the steering. It is, of course, very light. That goes with the whole luxury car experience, but it's also very accurate. This is not sloppy steering. There's no dead spot in it. When I turn, it responds instantly, and it goes exactly where I would expect the wheels to place. Just once again, especially here in the comfort mode, it is very light, so that way you can turn easily at low speeds and in parking lots. Definitely all adds to the luxury feel. I also want to mention one thing about the cornering. This vehicle has a very interesting system. I'm not entirely sure what it is called, but basically the seats adjust as I go around corners. So you can, if you listen, since it's so quiet in here, and if I stop talking, you can kind of hear as I go around a corner, the seat is making a small adjustment to the bolster on the side to hold me in place. So if I'm cornering this way, then it will boost it on the left-hand side. That way I get to be held in place, you know. And crazy levels of detail like that, you know. It's just spectacular. Mercedes is pretty much the only brand that considers even things like that as part of the luxury experience. I can go around a corner and not get jostled around, you know.
And that's especially nice in a car like this because it doesn't have big bolsters because it's a luxury car.
That's right.
And a lot of times you'll just fling around and, you know, this car has thought out even the smallest detail.
And then when it's time to get moving, you can definitely get moving quickly. You know, of course, as you keep saying, comfort and luxury is this car's emphasis, but you do have a V8 with lots of power and lots of torque on hand. And even though this is a huge vehicle, you can get moving with some serious haste, you know. I mean, that's also part of having a luxury experience, is that I've got plenty of power on tap at all times. But still very smooth and very quiet.
Yeah, wow. Sounds great. The engine itself sounds great.
We do actually have a sport mode that we can click into. I'll try that out of obligation. Nobody, I mean, you're gonna leave it in the comfort mode. But of course, you know, if you just want have a little bit of fun for a second, this is not, like I said, this is not your grandma's Buick Lucerne or something. You know, this is still has some German athletic ability. So you can scoot reasonably well on a curvy road, and you could mess with the paddle shifters for a little bit, but 99% chance no one is going to do that. Or you can buy another Mercedes that has that ability.
Yeah.
But overall, I'm trying to come up with something to say besides the fact that this is so comfortable and so luxurious, but it really is. I mean, there's a reason why this is widely considered to be, like I said, the best luxury vehicle that money can buy, and the vast majority of people in this segment go for the S-Class. And we're getting close to an all-new model, yet this vehicle is still, still outsells all of its competition by a significant margin. And I think that just speaks for itself. If you come and drive this, you'll see what I mean. It truly is just an incredible luxury vehicle. Alrighty, and let's go ahead and discuss the pricing of this S-Class. Now obviously, any Mercedes S-Class is going to be expensive, as with any car in this class. So if you start out with the base 6-cylinder option, the S450, that has a starting price of $91,250. Now if you want to go for the V8 option, which is what we have, the S560, that's going to ring in about $10,000 more expensive at $101,350. Now if you want 4MATIC all-wheel drive, that's going to be $4,000 on top of both those prices. And like Drew mentioned earlier, there are several AMG versions available of this vehicle if you want to go for that. So now that I've whipped out the sticker, I can tell you how this particular model is equipped. We have the S560 4MATIC, which starts at $104,350, and we do have quite a few options tacked onto that. So we have porcelain black Napa leather for $2160, the lacquer wood for $800, as well as the 20-inch AMG wheels for $750. We also have the night view assistant for $2,260, the exclusive trim package for $950, wheel locking bolts for $150, the comfort box for $350, as well as the premium one package for $5,000, and that does include quite a few different things. AMG line is $5,900, as well as the warmth and comfort package, which is $2,600, and the driver's assistance package for $2,250. And finally, when you add in the destination charge of $995, this particular model, as equipped, comes in at $128,515, which is definitely a lot of money, and it does make it a little bit more expensive than a lot of the rivals like the Audi A8 and BMW 7 Series. However, this is regarded as the best in the class. It's regarded as that Pinnacle type of sedan. Right, it consistently outsells the competition, and you do pay a little bit of extra price versus the competition.
Well guys, we've enjoyed watching this in-depth look at the 2019 Mercedes S-Class S560. Please hit those like and subscribe buttons if you haven't already, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.